What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? So the World Series is set, the Astros and the Phillies. In this video, I'm going to go over my top 5 storylines for this year's Fall Classic. Let's go talk about it. Before I get started, if you are new to the channel, think about subscribing down below. Hit the like button, the bell button, the share button. Hit all the buttons. For my first storyline, what will Bryce Harper do in his first World Series? My goodness, Bryce Harper has been a machine this postseason. Just take a look at the numbers. 43 at-bats, hitting .419 with a .444 on base, a 1.351 OPS. That is one of the highest OPSs of all time in a single postseason. He is just going crazy. He's got 5 homers, 11 RBIs. One of those homers was the eventual game-winning home run against the San Diego Padres that would send the Phillies to the World Series. An absolute electric moment. Bryce Harper, he has just been on fire. And, you know, this is actually the first time he has gotten by the division round in the postseason. He went to the postseason on 4 different occasions with the Nationals, was never able to get by the division round. And obviously, we all remember when he went to the Phillies, the Nationals decided, okay, we're going to go win a World Series now without Bryce Harper. So with the Phillies in the postseason for the first time with them, and he is just making it count. This guy's just on an incredible run. I am so excited to see if he can keep this up in the World Series. For my next storyline, can the Houston Astros end the noise once and for all? We all know what happened with the Houston Astros a few years ago. They took the cheating a little too far. They were banging on trash cans. They were up to no good. I mean, but let's be real here. Other teams were up to nonsense as well. But the Astros, they took it too far and they got caught. But the Astros, listen, they've made it to 4 World Series in the last 6 years. They've made it to 6 straight American League Championship Series. This team, this organization is just so well run. Even after all of the nonsense that happened, they have still kept up their winning ways. They were just in the World Series last year, and here they are yet again, and they obviously have a chance here to win this. Starting off with the starting pitching, amazing starting pitching from the Astros this year. Verlander with a Cy Young kind of a season. Framber Valdez has been amazing in the number 2 role. Christian Javier, a very underrated season, really took it to the Yankees there in the ALCS. Lance McCullers Jr. coming back late in the season. He's been effective. The bullpen, the back end of the bullpen has been amazing. Presley is always solid. Neris with a good year. Remember Rafael Montero? This guy seemed like a lost cause at one point, and he went to the Astros, and they completely turned him around. What a good season for him. And obviously, you got bats here. Even without Carlos Correa, even without George Springer, this team still just continues to churn offensively. Jeremy Pena taking over for Carlos Correa. He's been amazing, winning the MVP in the ALCS. Jose Altuve with a quiet year. And when I mean quiet, you just haven't really heard of what he's done. He's been really good with the bat this year. Yordan Alvarez, he's reminding me of David Ortiz. This guy's just an absolute monster. Bregman turning it around this year. Kyle Tucker with an underrated year. Good role players. Christian Vasquez, Trey Mancini coming over at the deadline. Those guys have been really helping out this team in the second half. This Astros team, I understand you're still going to have some people, even if they end up winning this World Series, you know, people will never forget the cheating scandal. But I think if they do win this, I think they can put that away for the most part, and we can all kind of just move on because if they can show that they can win a World Series without the cheating, I think it's safe to say that noise will quiet down. I think we'll all be able to move on from it, but we'll just have to wait and see what they can do. For my next storyline, can Rob Thompson lead the Phillies to an improbable finish? If you don't remember, Joe Girardi was once the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, but he was no longer the right guy for the job. They were off to a bad start, and they gave the keys to Rob Thompson. The Phillies, they got off to a bad start. They were 21-29 by the end of May. You know, you made some signings this past offseason with Castellanos and Schwarber. Remember, you brought in Harper a couple of years prior. You got guys like Nola and Wheeler. You know, good players on this team, but they just weren't meshing. Out goes Joe Girardi, in comes Rob Thompson, and this team completely turned it around. 19-8 in June, 15-10 in July, 18-11 in August. A bit of a bumpy September, but they got it turned around just in time for the postseason, beating the Cardinals, beating the Braves, and obviously just beating the Padres. And here they are in the World Series. However, this is not the first time a manager has taken over in season and led that team to the postseason. If you don't remember, Jack McKeon took over the 2003 Marlins. He replaced Jeff Torborg, and my goodness, the Marlins just went on a crazy run that year. Jack McKeon My goodness, one of the best managers of all time. Over 2,000 games, over 1,000 wins. That Marlins team was extremely fun. You had Puggs, you had Dontrelle Willis. Look at Josh Beckett. He ended up going to the Red Sox at one point. Guys like Juan Pierre, Mike Lowell, Carl Pavano, Luis Castillo. My goodness, it was a fun team. Derek Lee, too. Really fun team with the Marlins. In that first half, they were 49-46. They went 42-25 the rest of the way. Obviously, you had that infamous Cubs series. You had Bartman with, that the foul ball there, and the Cubs were just cursed. They ended up breaking the curse in 2016, but the Marlins, everyone was thinking the Cubs was going to beat that Marlins team in 2003, and everyone was thinking it was going to be Red Sox and the Cubs. Both teams were that close to playing each other in that World Series, but the Marlins overcame the odds, and Jack McKeon, after taking over in season, was able to help the Marlins win a World Series. There was also Phil Gardner. Now, they didn't get to the World Series in 2004. He took over for Jimmy Williams. If we go back to that Astros team, you had a lot of really good players on this team. You had the Killer Bees. You had Jeff Bagwell. You had Craig Biggio. You had Carlos Beltran. Hey, Lance Berkman. I mean, my goodness. Roy Oswalt, Brad Ligge, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte. That was a really fun team. Had a really good series with the Cardinals. They did fall one win short. They almost made it there. That was an incredible series. He took over after a 44-44 first half, replaced Williams at the All-Star break, and they went 48-26 the rest of the way. So that Astros team was close, but Rob Thompson, Jack McKeon, they're the only guys to take over in season and get to a World Series. Let's see if Rob Thompson can do what Jack McKeon did back in 2003. For my next storyline, can Dave Dombrowski win his third World Series with his third different organization? Dave Dombrowski will go down as one of the best baseball executives of all time, winning a World Series with the 1997 Marlins, a few years ago with my Red Sox. Oh my goodness, I still think about that to this day. But Dave Dombrowski, so much success. The only other general manager or president of baseball operations to win a World Series with two different organizations was Theo Epstein, winning 2 with my Red Sox, and then 2016 with the Cubs. Theo Epstein, the curse breaker. But Dave Dombrowski, he just has success anywhere he goes. Don't forget about when he went to the Tigers. He had a World Series there. They had some really good teams there with the Tigers, but everywhere he goes, these teams are just so successful. Could he have maybe rebuilt the Red Sox? That farm system was running a little low. He definitely added some really good pieces with that Red Sox team. I always wonder, could he have ended up staying? Could he have maybe just, drafted some guys, brought in some more prospects? I would have been interested to see what he could have done. But with the Phillies, he did inherit Bryce Harper, but he's made some really good signings, some trades along the way. Schwarber Castellanos last offseason, bringing in Syndergaard at the trade deadline. He's made other pieces or other moves as well. But Dave Dombrowski, I mean, this guy is going to go down as one of the best of all time. If they can win this World Series, I think you might easily have an argument for him to be the best baseball executive of all time. And my number one storyline for this year's World Series, can Dusty Baker finally win his first World Series? Dusty Baker, one of the best managers of all time. Almost 4,000 games managed. He has over 2,000 wins. Dusty Baker, easily one of the best of all time. Unfortunately, with Dusty Baker, he's never been able to win the big one. Getting to the World Series in 2002. Almost getting to the World Series in 2003. We just talked about that earlier. Getting to the World Series last year. Almost getting to the World Series in 2020. He has just not been able to come up with the big one. This guy, he's led so many teams to success. Lots of division championships. Lots of first-round wins. He's just never been able to win the big one. Dusty Baker, I think, this is his best chance here to win a World Series. If this ends up being his last year managing and he goes out with a win here, and we talked about earlier, the Astros, if they can win this, they can maybe finally put all the noise to rest about the cheating scandal, or at least most of it. And, for Dusty Baker, he came in, with this organization in turmoil. They were just getting all of the hate, deserved as well. But he really came in and he brought a calming presence to not just the team, but the organization as well. Dusty Baker is as professional as they come. The players just love playing for him. In a way, I really hope the Astros can win this. I mean, I would love for the Phillies to win it as well. But if the Astros win this, the big reason is for Dusty Baker, because this guy, he's been managing for so long now, since 1993. I mean, my goodness, what a career he's had. I do hope, for his sake, if they do win it, I think it'll be great for him to, if this ends up being the end of his career and he wins a World Series, I mean, what an amazing story that would be. But that is my number one storyline. Can Dusty Baker finally win his first World Series? So those are my top storylines for this year's Fall Classic. Tell me down below in the comments, what are some other storylines that we should pay attention to? But that is all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Sponsoring today's video, we have SeatGeek. If you're interested in finding a good deal on tickets, go check out SeatGeek. And also, use my code HYDE. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. And also sponsoring today's video, we have Prize Picks. If you are into the sports betting game and you're tired of FanDuel and DraftKings, go give Prize Picks a chance. They play the over-unders instead of actual people. If you use my code GINGER, you'll get a 100% deposit match.